I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Troy Lashinsky. I'm product manager for the Tabby. And what we're going to go through here is a sneak preview of the hospitality version. Normally I start off with a PowerPoint presentation, but the good news for you guys is I don't really have a good PowerPoint presentation set up for the Tabby hospitality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just skip ahead. There's a couple slides that I do want to cover. And then we're going to go right into the live demo. So at any time, if you guys have questions, go ahead and type them into the chat box. And the way this is going to work is after I'm finished covering what I want to cover, I'll stay on the line as long as you guys keep asking questions. So there will be time for heavy duty question and answer at the very end. But if I say something, you have a question on that, go ahead and ask away as we are moving here. So I'm going to skip all of this stuff here, and I'm going to get to the slide that I want to talk about, and that's this one. Okay, so, this is a question that comes up all the time, and that is, the dealer will ask CRS, what model in the CRS lineup does Tabby replace? And that answer is none. Tabby is it's a tablet-based solution. It's not just for tablets, but it's a tablet-based solution that is an addition to our lineup. And it's going to work for you as a reseller, just like any other product in your lineup. You're going to meet with your potential end user, and you're going to ask them many questions so that you can find out what their requirements are. And once you know what their requirements are and you know how much money they want to spend, then you choose from your lineup the best options for that end user. And Tabby may or may not fit in that final selection based on the requirements that you hear. So the most important thing that's on here is, we have the low-end cash registers at the bottom, we got tablet solutions in the middle, and we have our PC POS at the top. So it's just important for you to understand that Tabby is not meant to replace your PC POS system. It's not meant to replace that, and in many cases, it will not be able to replace that. So once you start hearing about complicated happy hour schemes and third-party interfaces to QuickBooks and other things like that, you start hearing about online ordering and fancy inventory control. And once you hear about lots of peripherals and things like that, that's when it's time to remove Tabby from the final selection choice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in here. I'm going to close down this PowerPoint. Like I said, I don't really have a PowerPoint that's quite ready. So the Tabby hospitality version, very similar to the regular retail version in how simple it is to get up and running. So basically at your tablet or at your hardware device, you're going to go into your Wi-Fi connections. At my desk here, I have a Wi-Fi router that's called Tabby Troy, and connected to that, I have several Tabbies. But basically, all you need to do at your device, your PC, your phone, your tablet, whatever it is that you want to connect to that Tabby, you're going to connect to that wireless router, which I've connected here. You're going to open up a browser. You can use any browser, although I will say that Google Chrome works the best, and that's mainly because that's what people are, that's what the developers are using. They're using the Google Chrome, so that's why that one works the best. Okay, so basically I open up my Google Chrome browser, I type in this IP address. In this case, I'm not using the standard IP address, I'm using 192.168.1.181. That's because I have several Tabbies that are connected here. So I go ahead and I type that in, I'm going to log on. And then I'm going to see something that's a little different than what we're used to seeing in the retail version. So in the hospitality version, basically we start off with a table map. And on this table map, I have lots of information that's available to me. So first thing that I'll see is I can have multiple sections. So I can have a patio section, I can have a main section. You're allowed to have up to 5 sections, and you're allowed to have up to a maximum of 100 tables. All right, the next thing that we're going to see here is across the top, I've got this gas gauge, and that gives me, as an owner / manager, it gives me a quick view on how full my restaurant is. Now, I know in a lot of restaurants that's going to be very obvious because there is only, one room in some cases. But in this case, we've got multiple sections. So if I want to be able to see how full I am, including all sections, then I can just take a quick peek at this right here. The next thing I'll see down here at the bottom here is I have some different statistics that I can see of what's going on. So first of all, it tells me right here, it says overall stats. This tells me I have 21 tables in the whole restaurant. None are occupied, none are pending, none are delayed, none are settled. I have 21 available, so that's for the whole restaurant. If I click where it says overall stats, then I can look at only for this section. So it'll tell me the same information, but it's going to narrow it down to only the sushi bar. I'm on the patio and I'm on the section. It'll show me only for this section or the overall. Okay, if I press this button right down here called stats, I can scroll through and see some different things. So I can get a slightly different view here. So this says in this section, I have 5 4-person tables available. And overall, I have 10 1-person tables available and 11 4-person tables available. I can also click on the stats button here and I can see what my efficiency is regarding the number of chairs that are used. And where efficiency comes into play is if I have a table that has, let's say 4 seats around it, but I only assign items to 1 seat or 2 seats, then that will make me what's called less efficient. So it will give the owner an opportunity maybe to tell the hostess that they need to do a better job of setting people down or something like that. But that's what that's for. And if I hit it one more time, then I'm going to see what all the different colors mean. All right, so all these tables right now are free, which means nothing's happened. Once an order is put in, but it hasn't been sent to the kitchen, you can have it be this color. Delayed, I have an optional field that allows you to state, you can have a 2-service setup so that I have to service the order 1 time to get the items to go to the kitchen. And then I have an optional step where I service the items again to show that I've brought them out to the table. And that can be helpful at a place like this where maybe they have food runners and the owner could look at this and say, wow, I have a lot of tables that are delayed here. So I need to go figure out what's going on. Either the kitchen is running behind or there's a bunch of food setting up that needs to be brought out to the table and I need to get my food runners going. So that's what that could be for. Settled means that the table has ordered. They've already received their guest check. They've paid their guest check. It's just waiting for somebody to go over and wash the table down and get it reset. And then I can release that table and it will be ready to go again. Ordering, this one means that an order is in process as we speak. And we've got a couple of special style tables for delivery and takeaway. And this is a takeaway table and I'll cover that a little bit later. All right, so if I want to go ahead and open up a table and start an order, if I click on the table 1 time, it will highlight it. If I click it again, it is going to open up that table. And what I'm seeing here is what my screen is going to look like. And this is a program that I'm just starting, so it's not complete yet. But basically, this is for a small sushi restaurant, not too far from our office here. And when I go in here, at first, what I'm going to see is at the bottom of the screen here, I'm going to see every single PLU that is available at that store. And you can see that this menu is not very large right now at this time. At the top here, what I'm seeing are the highest level of groups. So basically all the food is under this group. And as I choose these group buttons, what will happen is the items at the bottom are going to filter. And if you had several hundred items in your program, then what's going to happen here is going to make a lot more sense, but I think you'll get the picture. So let's say that these guys want to start off with some beer. So if I click on the sake and beer button, which is the highest level group, once I click on that, that filters the items that I see at the bottom here to only things that are in that category. And then I have beer, sake, and wine. So once again, I can either choose the item off this menu here, or if I want to further filter that down, if I click on beer, I'm only going to see the beer items. All right, I can either click on home to go all the way back to the top level, or I could have hit the back button here, and I could have gone up one level and then click it again to go back up to the top. So that is one thing that you have to be aware of, is when you're setting up your menu, you do have to have 2 levels of groups. And the reason for that is we have a very limited space right here for displaying these groups. So if we had them all displayed, then it's going to be very long and you're going to have a lot of scrolling back and forth. So that's the reason why it's set up this way. All right, so let's say that these guys came in and they want to order some drinks just to get started. All right, so I'm going to go back to the beer category, and what we'll see up here at the top is, if you remember, this table that I opened had 4 seats already around it. And let's just say that a 5th person joined us and they just grabbed a chair from another table and dragged it over. I can always activate another seat by just clicking on this grayed out button here. So once I click on that, that will they'll activate that seat, and then I will have an option to activate another one if I want to. So let's say seat number 1 wanted a Bad Axe beer, and seat number 2 wanted a Jack Savage, and seat number 3 wanted a Bark Bite, and seat number 4 they want actually some wine. They want whatever this one is, and seat number 5 they want some sake. All right, so everybody's ordered their items. And what I see over here in my order window is only the things for seat number 5, and that's because seat number 5 is highlighted right here. If I want to see all the items, I go back over here and I click on all, and that shows me all of the items. And I have a couple different options on how I want to break down how I see this here. So if I click on this little button, it looks like a person. I can toggle back and forth between just seeing the seat number right here, or I can see it broken down by, okay, guest number 1 item, guest number 2 item, guest number 3 item. And that can help if you have a lot of people sitting around the table and you just want to make sure that the item has been ordered for everybody. The other thing that you can do here is click on this little grouping button, and this grouping button is going to break it down by the groups in your program. So for beer, there were 3 items for beer. For sake, there was 1 item for sake, and for wine, there's 1 item for sake. And that can come into play pretty nicely if you're ordering appetizers, and I can look at it with this grouping view and I can see appetizers. Okay, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anyway, those are some different things that I can do for that. So when I'm all done, I have an optional step here. I've got it activated, so I have to service this. So I could leave this table and come back to it without sending these items to the kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to require the person to hit this checkmark button down here, which is the service button. And when I go ahead and service that, it's going to give me a nice little overview of what everybody ordered. And it is going to show this little serving tray right here. And once again, that's an optional step. I can set it up here so that you have to actually service the check 2 times. Whereas the first time I service it, what it will do is, for this icon right here, it's going to show a little frying pan to show that the items have been serviced to the kitchen. And then I would have to recall it later, and I would have to service it again to say, okay, I brought those items out to the table. And once again, what that does is it gives you some different color options when you go back to the table layout. All right, so let's say that the next person comes in and they have a bigger group. Let's say that they have 8 people. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide tables 2 and 3 together. So what I can do is I can highlight table 2. I can click on the merge button right here, and it's going to say, okay, what do you want to merge with table number 2? And I'm going to say I want to merge table number 3. And it's going to say, are you sure? And I'm going to say yes. And then what we'll see here is both of those tables will turn into table number 3. All right, so then I can open that up. And it doesn't automatically give me more seats, but I can just say that, okay, we've got 8 seats here now. And I'll do the same thing. So seat number 1 is going to have, we'll go in here and we'll get some beer. Seat number 1 wants this, and seat number 2 is not going to have anything right now. Seat number 3 is going to have this item. Oops. What did I do here? All right, so I accidentally had that order in refund mode. All right, so I'm going to go seat number 1. Seat number 2 doesn't want anything. Seat number 3 goes here. Seat number 4 goes Bark Bite. Seat number 5 wants this. Seat number 6 wants this. Seat number 8 wants this. Okay, I can go back over here and go to all. I can break it down by person. I can see a couple people were skipped, but that was on purpose. I can break it down by group. Okay, we got 6 beers coming to the table. I can do that. I can also, let's just say that I think that one of these bottles of wine is fairly expensive, but this one's not. Let's say that they were all going to split this bottle of wine. I do have the ability, first of all, to have this assigned to the table. Because I didn't choose a seat, it will automatically be assigned to the whole table. And I also have the ability to split this among several people. So what I can do is I can go to my function button, and that item is highlighted here, and I'm going to say I want to split that portion out. We'll just say that 4 people wanted to split that. So I can go 4, split portion, and it's going to split that item into 4 pieces. And then I can reassign this to another guest. So right now it's assigned to the table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that 4th goes to seat 1. This 4th goes to seat 2. This 4th goes to seat 3. And I'm doing that by highlighting the item. I'm choosing the seat number, and then I'm choosing which guest I want to change that to. And I will go ahead and service that. And I'll get a nice little breakdown on what happened here. And then I can go back out to the main screen. All right, so if I go back to seat number 1, another cool feature that I have is I have the ability to repeat an order. So, well, actually, before I get to that, one thing that's a little bit different with Tabby than what we're used to seeing is when you open up a guest check, it will show all the items from the last order, and then maybe a dotted line, and then all the orders from the next order. And what we do is a little different here. What we do is we show that order right here, and let's just say that they wanted a new order. So I'll say new order. In this round, they're going to go for some sake. All right, so I'm going to say seat number 1 wants this, and seat number 2 wants this, seat number 3 wants this, and seat number 4 wants this. I'll go back to all. I can see seat 1 through 4. I'm going to go ahead and service that out. It shows me what happened during that order. I ordered these 4 different bottles of sake. And if I want to see what they ordered the first time, I can go to order number 1, and I can see all those. Or I can choose all, and I can see everything that was ordered on all the orders combined. And the reason that we do it this way is because we only have a limited space. Remember, I've got a big, huge 15-inch screen here. And in some cases, you may be looking at this on, a 7-inch tablet or even a 10-inch tablet. And there's just not going to be as much room here to see all these different items. So what they do is they break it down, order number 1, order number 2, all the items together. And that's why they do it that way. All right, I'm going to go back out to the layout. I'll go back into seat number 3. I'm sorry, table 3. And I'm going to go to order number 1. Here's all my different items here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, all these guys that ordered beer, most of them want another round, but not quite everybody. And the people that ordered the wine, they don't want another round yet. So it's kind of a selective deal here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the function button again. I'm going to highlight all the people that want to repeat their order. So all these different people wanted another round. And I'm going to say repeat order. And when it does, it'll take all those items and it's going to put it onto another order, on order number 2, and I can service that out. Here's what happened in order number 2. Here's what happened in order number 1. Here's everything all together. So that's a pretty nice feature that we have. I already did show you how to change the seat, but let's just say that that this item was accidentally assigned to the wrong seat. I have it on seat number 5, but it was supposed to be seat number 3. So what I can do is I can highlight that item. I can go back down to function. I can say it was supposed to go to 3 and then change guest. And you can see that was changed to seat number 3. All right. So that's all good. All right, another thing that we can do here is when it's time to present the guest check, let's say that these people didn't want any food, they just came in to have some drinks. So I'll go back in the table number 1. It automatically defaults to all. I can see everything that was purchased here. Now let's just say that seat number 3, he said, you know what, I got to take off, so can I get my guest check? So what you can do is I can click right down here in the footer where it's got the total and this little change sign. I click in there and that brings me into this payment guest check screen. So at this point, if I hit print check right now, it's going to print me off a check for everybody. If I only want seat number 3, I can highlight seat number 3 and I can click on print check. And let's say that seat number 3 said, okay, I got to take off, but I'm also going to pick up the tab for seat number 4 because he's my buddy. So I can hit 3 and 4, click on print check, and bring that up to the table. The total is $72. If he just wants to give me a $100 bill, I can press the $100 bill here when 3 and 4 are assigned. And that paid that off. It shows $28 change is due here. And when I go back into that table, what you'll see here is you'll see that 3 and 4 have these check marks, which mean that they've already been paid, so I don't have to worry about those. And then that total also is not reflected into this grand total anymore. All right, so let's just say that the other people stayed for a little bit longer and they take off too. So I can click on the footer. I can say the total's $80. They gave me a $100 bill too. Change of 20, and I can get out of that table. You'll see the table's now blue. So we'll send the busser guy over there, and he's going to clean off the table, reset it, and when it's all ready to go, what I can do is I can highlight that table, and I click on release, and that releases that table. And now it's ready to go again. All right, so if you remember, I told you I also have this other special, the special kind of table. So let's just say that we had a cash bar where people were just going to walk up to the bar and they didn't really want to assign everything to the table. So we have an easy way to do that too. So I only have to go into this table one time. So when I open up table number 40, this is a cash bar table. It's set up in quick service mode. So basically the way that this one works is if I go to sake and beer, and person orders a Bad Axe, I say the total is $8. I can click on the footer, and then I can click on the footer, and I see that whatever they gave me $20. I click on $20. It shows that $12 is due for change. I click on back, and I'm right back in this order entry window. So somebody comes up and buys a couple more beers. I go into the footer. They gave me $20, $6 change. I can go back. So it allows me to just ring up some items right on the fly without having to assign tables and seats and all that good stuff. All right, I see that one of the folks here said that when they try to release a table, but it does not let me. So I would have to know what your error message was, but I would guess it's because that table hadn't been serviced. So for example, if I went into here, I ordered an item and I did not press service, and I went in here and I paid it off, and then I tried to maybe release that, it probably is going to error. Well, you probably, I think I have mine set up so I don't technically have to release anything. But basically, what you probably just need to do is on that order, click on the checkbox would be my guess. But we could talk about more about that after we're done here. Go ahead and pay that off. All right, so I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover on here. I covered the takeout, covered change quantities. Repeat round. Covered all those things. Release. Okay, I'll pay off this one as well. Then we'll go and check out the back office a little bit. All right, so I'll cash out that table. I go back to the layout. I'm going to highlight that table and release it. And the nice thing when the merged tables are released, it's automatically going to do that. I apologize. This is the bug that it's already been fixed. I just haven't updated my Tabby yet. Okay, so that is all I really wanted to cover. Another view that might be helpful. Let me just open up a couple more items here. We can have condiments assigned to these items. So I believe if I hit this item, it's going to pop up what kind of rice do I want, and it automatically chooses a default of white rice. If I don't want to change that, I can just hit back. The sushi roll here pops up a choice of meat, and there's no default here, so I have to choose one. And I can have different prices based on whatever kind of meat it is there. So you can do that. So anyway, I'll bring up a couple items there. I'll service that. I'll go out to the layout here again. I'll open up this table, and they're going to have some appetizers. I'll service that. If I go back to the layout here, I can see that I have two tables there. Another thing that could be helpful is Cashier can click on their Cashier tab, and they can view everything this way. If that's maybe easier for them, they can see some of their totals, some of their statistics. So that's kind of nice. One other feature here, let's see if it's working today. Okay, so what this feature does right here is if I click on the section, I have a feature that allows me to view it in a couple different ways. So if I just click it on one time, I will see all the tables that are available in the whole restaurant. Tables that are assigned to other people, tables that are assigned to me, tables that are free. If I click that header one more time, even though nothing changed on here, it's because it's only me working right now. What I'm seeing now are any tables that are already assigned to me or are available to me. So all the open checks and all the checks that I've already started. If I click it a third time, it disappears all the tables except for the ones that I'm currently working on right now. So that's something that can help a cashier view things a little bit differently. So that's a nice feature. All right, and that's really those are the key things that I wanted to show you here. Now, if I go to the Cashier tab, I can also open up the table from here. So I can click on that. Okay, I have this. I can go in here and I can pay it out. Or I go to the cashier view here. I can open up this table. I can add some more items to it. So basically, the Cashier tab can work just like the layout tab. Depends on what the end user wants to do a little bit better. Question came up, can we merge two tables that are already open? I'm gonna guess not, but let's go ahead and try that, see what happens here. So I've got these two tables here. I can say merge with this one. Okay, so yeah, we can. Yep, yes, we can do that. You can do that. You can merge two tables that are already open. The other thing that you could do is I can reassign some items. So I'll go to 25 and I'm going to start a check here. Just one seat, and he ordered a couple items. Yeah, he ordered a couple of beers as well. Let's say. All right, so let's say he ordered these things. And then, he's sitting there all lonely by himself, and then some friends come, so he's going to join them over at table number 6. So, oops, I don't want to do that. What I can do is I can transfer that. So if I highlight seat 25, I can say I want to transfer that over here to 6. All right, so it just took all those items and it moved them over here to 6. Walt asked the question, do we have a compulsory server sign-on? So we do have what's called on here a hot seat mode. And what hot seat mode is, it does force you to re-sign on after every service. So it's not quite exactly what we're looking about. Not exactly signing people off after every transaction, but it's pretty darn close. All right, so I was requested here to show how to transfer again. So I'll start table 26. I'm going to ring up a couple items here. All right, so I'll service those. So seat number 26 now has got an open check here. Its status is served. And let's say that they actually want to transfer that over to seat number or table number 5. So basically you highlight that table. I click on the transfer button down here in the bottom left-hand corner. And that's going to say right here, please select the destination table to transfer that to. So the destination table is number 5. So I click on table number 5. It says, are you sure? I say yes. And it takes all those items from 26 and moves them over to 5. All right. Any other questions on how to ring things up here on the front end before I move to the back end and show you the small differences there? All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the back office. So normally what you do is you'd go to the Cashier tab and you click on the back office button right here. I'm going to cheat. I have another tab open, which is perfectly legit to do. That works easiest for me. I'll switch this tab and I get another sign on screen here, and I am going to go ahead and sign on. And only people that are programmed as manager equals yes can get in here. Yep, you can get individual server totals. So they are under the Cashier totals tab. I can see those. And then also in the back office here, under long-term reports, we do have the operator report, and I can run that here, and it would be for each person with the total. All right, so as you've probably seen with the other Tabby webinars, I'll just go through it real quick here. This is one of the things that really sets Tabby apart. We store 5 years worth of sales data, and it's in a database format. So if I go to my group report, for example, and I just click on the refresh here, it says, okay, well, here's my group totals for today. And it's just the dollar value. So let's just say that I also wanted to see the quantities. So I go to that. It'll show me all my quantities with my sales revenue. And that's for today. Well, what if I want to see that on a monthly basis? And in addition to the monthly, I also want it broken down by day, which I don't know why anybody would want that, but basically it'd be like, June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd, so on and so forth, and with the summary at the bottom. Well, let's say that's for June. Let's say they want to look at May, and to be honest with you, I don't know if there's going to be any totals in here for May. Oh yeah, there are. Okay, so then I can get my May totals. That's for the month. Well, what if I want to look at it by year, and I want that broken down by month? I can click on refresh, and I can get some pretty awesome reports here. Obviously things you can't do with the cash register. In addition to that, I can look at a range report. And I can type in any range I want. I want to look at May 11th through June 9th. So I want to look at a month, but not a straight up month. So I can get a total that looks like that. I can get that broken down by day as well, which gives me a breakdown by day. So I can do that for any one of these reports. I can do that for the items, for the groups, for the payments, so on and so forth. I also have a dashboard here as well. And this dashboard, when I go to this, it gives me a good overview of what's going on in my store. So it's going to show me right here what's going on in my store today, hour by hour. It's going to show right here what's going on in my store day by day for this week and day by day for this month. And if I hover over things, it'll tell me what the totals are. So anyway, that's pretty cool. Just below that, I've got some other detailed charts. We already looked at the group report, but I can break it down here by groups, and that's on a weekly basis, or I can look at it on a monthly basis. I can change that back to May if I want, and I can look at it on a yearly basis. I don't think there's anything in here for 2014, but it does allow you, some great flexibility. It's super fast. It is super powerful. If I want to look at, these, go back to June here. Allows you to look at this data. If I click on the more information button here, I can look at it kind of in more of a spreadsheet fashion here. And very shortly, we'll be adding a CSV button here, which allows us to export these out in a comma separated value. And since we're talking about going out to Excel, for people that sat through the retail version webinar, they've already seen this, but under items, if I click on the more information button, I can export the stuff out to comma separated value, and you saw how quick and easy that was. It allows you to, Tabby allows you to not only export the stuff out to CSV, but it also allows you to import it back in too. So for example, this program right here, I actually created in Excel, and then I imported it into the Tabby because it's a lot easier for me to type in this fashion and add these prices in this fashion than it is for me to do it page by page by page in Tabby. So it's one of those things, if you do have a menu already, it might be easier for you to do it that way. If I wanted to just add a new item, it's super simple. I can just click on the plus here, and whatever, I'll add sushi roll. I'll leave the barcode the same because we're not going to scan that item anyway. That's the PLU number. For group assignment, I just click on the group assignment and I choose the group from the list that pops up. I choose my department, which is my taxable status. I can go ahead and put in my price, which whatever, I'll make that $17. If I want to add a picture, I can do that. We get up to 10 different pages of pictures that we can choose from, and those are very easy to create yourself. We have a free utility on our website that allows you to take pictures that you get from anywhere, and you will reformat them into the correct size without stretching or skewing them. All the pictures you see on this page right here, I actually literally cut and paste using the window snipping tool from the end user's website. That's where I got all these images. Took me literally 15 minutes to make this whole page. So anyway, we've got some different images that we can use. Got some different programming flags. I'm not going to talk too much about those because those are pretty straightforward. But anyway, once I add that item and I signed it to a group, the next time I refresh the browser here, when I re-sign on and I go into a table and I go to food and then sushi, I'll see that sushi roll is here. It's already available to sell, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty quick and easy to add new items. Okay, going back to the back office, one thing that you're probably wondering is how do you set up that table map? So this table map is the easiest table map that I've ever used from any point of sale system that I've personally worked on. So basically, we have our main section, we have our patio section. Let's say that there's a third section that we need to create, and we're going to call it the rooftop lounge. So anyway, I'm on sections here, and I want to add something new, so I'm going to click on the plus, and add at section 3 down here. I'm going to change the name of that to be the roof, and that is done now. Now I want to add some tables to it. So if I add one table, I'll go ahead and add a table, and it's going to make it the default size and shape. And let's just say that I want that table to be a oval table instead, and I want to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click on the width, make it bigger, and make it higher. And I don't really want all those chairs around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the size of these chairs bigger until it gets down to 4 chairs, which is what I want. And then I am going to, let's say these people are a little bit fancy, so they want their table rotated just like it is out on the patio or on the rooftop. So I do that. I can also rotate my descriptor so that's not sideways. So there I've made a table. It's just the way I want it. I can drag it around. And now that that table is set up this way, any additional table that I add is going to look just like that one. So let's say that I do this. I can move these around here. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to put that guy over here. And in this case, I can actually highlight multiple ones. So if I highlight these 4, I can move them around as a group. So that makes it pretty convenient to do that. I can add some walls. So once again, I have 4 different choices for walls. I got a straight one, L-shaped one, a U-shaped one, and a little room. So I'll start off by adding a room here, and we're going to make a little VIP lounge over here. So I'll put that here, and I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Oops. Make it a little bit wider, make it a little bit higher. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to move the opening a little bit. All right. So I can make some walls. I'm going to add some of these other kind of walls. So I'll add this wall right here. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And now that I have that one just the way I like it, I'm going to add a couple more. Put that guy down here. I'll add another one. Say there's a wall in between here too. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to rotate that one the other way. And whatever, I'll put that guy right here. So I've done that. I want to throw some text in here. I'm going to add a new text box. I've got that highlighted. I can change it. That's the VIP lounge. I'm gonna add another one called the whatever we want to call it. That's our rooftop lounge. All right, so anyway, you can see that's pretty darn simple. I've got a couple objects that I can add here. I don't know, I mean, we can add more later if we want to, but I don't know how important those are. But anyway, we can add little plants, things like that. So anyway, you can see that's pretty darn simple, pretty darn easy. I'm gonna save that. And now when I go back to my front office, if I refresh that, the next time I go into that section will be indeed available. So now I've got my rooftop lounge here as well. So you can see pretty darn simple, pretty darn quick, pretty darn easy. So other than that, there is pretty much everything else is the same in here. So at that point, that was the sneak preview. I'll just update everybody on where we're at with that hospitality version. So we've got a couple installations. We've got one locally here. We've got two more local ones that I'm working to get installed soon. I've got a handful of dealers that have received the software and they are getting ready or have recently done installations. And my goal is to have this software released by RSPA time. So we're hoping to get about a dozen installations up and running and happy before our RSPA, which is coming right up here, just 6 weeks away or whatever it is. Anybody that wants to get a copy of this beta software for review, all you have to do is contact our support team and they will send you a link and you can review that and give us your feedback. If you purchase a new and you would like this version loaded before it ships out, just let your salesperson know that. We can do that as well. But once again, this is a beta version and we're sending it to dealers to get their feedback. If you set it up and you're happy with the way that it works and you think that it meets the needs of your potential end user, by all means, get back with us and let's talk it through and make sure it does indeed fit. And let's get that installed and get another beta installation under our belt. So the question came up, we need to open the check by name. That's going to be available. So that has been requested, but right now that is not available. So anyway, that's basically all I wanted to cover on introduction. And at this point, I'm going to open it up for questions and answers and go ahead and ask away. And I will stay on the line as long as you guys continue to ask me questions. All right, so Super Business said you have a problem to release a table. So did you check out the suggestions that I just mentioned to you? So my guess is that that table was never properly released. So basically when you start a guest check, you add some items to it and you have to hit this release button down here. You have to hit the check mark. So once you service it, and you pay it, then if you go to the layout here, you should be able to highlight that table and release it. And highlight this table and release it. Yep, I will make I will post a this video. Unfortunately, it's kind of big, and I'll send out some instructions on how to do that. So Brian, what dealership are you with, so that I can make sure that you do get that? So on the menu screens, no, we don't have a limitation of 50 items. It just happens to be this program is a little bit small. So the retail version, let me double check. I can't quite remember how many. we can have up to 2,000 PLUs. So what we see here, what would happen is if there was more than this, what I would see is a little scroll bar right down here, and I could scroll up and down. Or as I choose the different groups, it filters that down to whatever amount actually shows up in here. All right, what other kind of questions do you have? Well, thanks, Walt. I appreciate that. So anyway, there will be more information about this version coming soon. We're just now getting ready to start doing some of these introductions so that people kind of know that it's coming soon. So there will be a lot more information to come soon. Manny, what's the question? Can you move the department what? As far as moving the department goes, we do have one option here. It's not probably what you're looking for, but under miscellaneous settings, and we do have the ability to, never mind, that's not in this version. So we have the ability in the retail version to put the departments by alphabetically. So I can ask about that. I know it's not exactly what you're looking for, but they are going to show up in the order that you create them. One thing here that I didn't cover that I probably should have. So I go back up to the highest level. I have this one, this item right here called HHAM. So that's for happy hour AM. So you notice every other thing here. So when I hit food, it's all food items. When I hit sake and beer, when I hit beer, it's all beer items. We have another idea, this thing called the quick pick group. So if we go and look at our programming on page 3, we have these quick pick groups. So I've got 3 to choose from, and I can program them over here in my store configuration quick pick groups. So basically I can put in a name here. We'll call this one whatever. We'll call this happy hour PM. All right, I'll say that's active, happy hour PM, and I already have happy hour AM. Then I can go to my items and I can assign them to that quick pick group. So let's just say that my happy hour PM is going to be all my appetizers, which is the strange name here, okay? And I'm gonna go to page 4, page 3, and I'm gonna put them all on this PM happy hour. Of course, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll just make like 1, 2, 9, and 10, and then also we'll throw the beers in there as well. So I can enter in items that are from different groups. All right, so the way that works, let me go ahead and refresh my browser here. The way that works is when I sign on now, if I go in here, I've got my happy hour AM, happy hour PM. So if I click on happy hour PM, it's just items that I've set to that quick pick group. And the happy hour AM is just things, it's one kind of sushi, one appetizer, one wine, a couple of beers, and the Troy special. So anyway, that allows you to put some items that aren't in the same categories together. All right, so the next question came up on the iPad. when you touch the screen for a couple seconds, it actually pops up and highlights the area. That can be eliminated on the iPad. I'll have to Google search that to see how to do that, but it's basically a gesture that you can disable on the iPad. So after this call, Brian, I can spend a couple minutes to see if I can find your answer for you on that. So going back to Manny's question, you cannot change the position of these departments. You cannot. All right, and then Brian, that printer problem's related to the browser being used. So I would use Google Chrome where you can. You can definitely load that on your iPad, but the Google Chrome browser seems to work the best. And once again, if the end user is dead set on using some other browser, we can absolutely point out any problems to the engineers and they will fix those. But Google Chrome's usually what they work with, so that's going to be the best. All right, so tip reporting came up. So we do have the ability on the Cashier tab to do tips here. So either EFT tips or cache tips. So the EFT tips would be going through the data cap device. So if I click on that button, it does allow me to put in the record number, and I'm not connected to one right now, but if I said, record number 10 and then did read, it actually will go out to the data cap device and will pull back that information so that they can verify that they are on the right card, which is a little nicer than what we have in the past with the cash registers. And that would be tracked by that server as well. All right, so that BIOS critical section fail and BIOS memory CRC fail. So that is something that you will see every time you upgrade a Tabby. So if it is not, if it is something that doesn't go away with a RAM clear and reload of the Tabby, it's most likely we need to change the battery on that Tabby. So you can either send it in for service here, or we can get you some instructions on how to change that battery. But there was also a problem, a bug in one of the retail versions where when you turn off your receipt printer, you could see that error as well. So let's talk to our support team and see if they can't get you figured out on that one, Manny. And why don't you go straight to either Matt or Matthew on that one, because both of those work pretty closely with me on that bug that we found with that error. All right, any other questions, anybody? Yeah, please start with the tech support guys, Manny, on that table that doesn't want to release. And if they can't get you resolved, I do have time later this afternoon. I can call in and do a team viewer session, take over your PC, and we can take a close look at that. But I'm not going to be available until about 1:30 this afternoon, our time. So yeah, so thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate you guys listening. If you have quick and easy questions, you can direct those to your sales rep. If you got a little more in-depth questions, go to tech support. And if you're absolutely stuck, go to me. Now, if you leave me a voicemail and you don't tell me what you're calling about, I'm probably going to forward you to the tech support guy, so don't feel offended. If you leave me a message and you tell me what you're looking for and it's something I know that the tech support guys can answer, I'm going to forward you to the support guys, so don't be offended. But if you're absolutely stuck, leave me that in your voicemail. Tell me, hey, I'm stuck. I really need some help. And we'll make sure that you get taken care of right away. But remember, I'm not always at my desk and not always available. So if you leave me that message, like obviously right now I'm not available on the phone. So I wouldn't be helping anybody right now because I'm busy. But I will check my messages at least a few times a day and I will get you some help right away. So if you are stuck, please contact me, leave me a voicemail or shoot me an email, and I'll make sure that you get help, whether it's me or somebody else. So anyway, once again, I want to thank everybody for your time, and I'm going to log out. And once again, you can get this version for review from any one of the support guys. Have a great rest of the day and a great weekend. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.